Nerds. 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 Wait, was that a hipster? Get out of here, hipster! What comes to your mind when you think of the word nerd? Depending on your generation, a nerd could be someone who is socially inept, awkward, unattractive, or intelligent, bold, and even cool. The word nerd seems to have undergone a semantic change in recent years, as nerdiness has become part of the popular culture. But what are the origins of the word nerd? No one actually knows. Wait, what? Well, but there are some theories though, and today we're going to discuss two of the most likely origins of this very peculiar word, though there are many other theories. The earliest recorded use of the word as we spell it today is found in a Dr. Seuss book published in 1951 called If I Ran the Zoo. The book is recorded from the perspective of Gerald McGrew, who would find way more exotic animals to put in the zoo if he ran it. On one of his fanciful journeyings to the land of Catrue, Gerald tells us that he would bring back an itcutch, a preep, and a prue, a nurgle, a nerd, and a seersucker too. Yeah, a nerd. Looking at the illustration, one could imagine that this little creature truly is a stereotypical nerd. He seems somewhat removed and antisocial, yet intelligent. And given the fact that this is the first written account that we have of the word, it could in fact be its origin. There's a major flaw with this theory, however. The Oxford English Dictionary lists an instance of nerd found in a Newsweek article dated the 8th of October 1951, which states, "In Detroit, someone who once would be called a drip or a square is now, regrettably, a nerd." Is it possible that scarcely a year after the publication of a children's book that a fanciful invention of Dr. Seuss really inspired the youth of Detroit to start referring to squares as nerds? Maybe, though it seems somewhat unlikely. Another possible origin, though there seems to be little evidence to support it, is from a backslang of the word drunk, spelling nerd. As far as the meaning goes, this seems like a more likely origin, since the cool kids were those who liked to get drunk, and the uncool kids were those who abstained. In effect, the exact opposite of drunks. Nerds. Besides the missing K, the main problem with this theory is that the N-U-R-D spelling doesn't appear until the 60s and 70s, 1 to 2 decades after the Newsweek article, which spelled it N-E-R-D. This, to me, suggests one of two possibilities. Either the writers in the 1950s didn't know the drunk to nerd origin and therefore spelled it wrong, or the drunk to nerd origin came as a folk etymology in the 1960s which altered the spelling, though not for very long, as N-E-R-D eventually won out. So whether the word comes from a funny would-be zoo animal in the world of Dr. Seuss, or from drunk spelled backwards, nerds have certainly come a long way from their antisocial, awkward beginnings. Until next time, don't forget to be awesome.